Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent me this font and they need a center line, and I erased, they had the zero perfect or the O perfect, but I picked Arial. And if we nudge this down, whoop, I got my nudge factor set on real low. Let's make it like 2 inches. You can see that it's Arial. And I would have never thought about this. So this font is really close to Arial, with the exception that the O looks a little bit different. And he did the O, and it looked perfect. But I've done it twice now, just playing around with it, and it's pretty good. So I'm pretty sure he could do it with his font. Now, I would have probably never thought about this, to use the bevel tool to do this. And it really helped. I mean, he said he tried this yesterday and it took him, I think he said he worked on it 10 hours. I'm going to make it really light, and I'm going to make a duplicate and move it over. I'm going to take away the outline. I'm going to go to Effects and Bevel. And Bevel is one of those type of tools. I don't think if you, well, okay, I broke them apart, so I'm going to have to do them individually, but that's fine. Bevel is one of the tools that I think it will only go so far. You know, I've got it set on 1/4 of an inch, so it's going halfway. Now, sadly, the transparency doctor doesn't work on this. The Y and the T are like easy. And I'm going to take a 2-point line, and you have to be, just watch it, because there's nothing going to snap to it. But if you get that first line, it's going to tell you what I'm going to do? I'm going to change his line. I'm going to double click on here and change the graphic to a hairline. And black's okay. I think we'll be better off. I'm going to take a 2-point line and go from that to that. Yep, that'll be nice. Now, it's going to tell me the center of that line, thankfully, on that. The Y is a little bit different, but we can always move it later. But I'm going to go like right to there and right to there. Now I'm going up a little bit because I'll show you later I think it really is perfect. I could go to this curve, but I want to go to the point. Now the O and the S are a little harder. I'm going to take a 2-point line, and I'm going to shift select this O, and I'm going to go EC. That put me a halfway point between the O and that line. Now I'm going to use the 3-point curve line from that edge to that edge, and then I'm going to hold down the control button. Now it's not perfect, but with the shape tool, we can bring this in and try to stay right on that line. And then and I think that's good. Once we get that line, we can Control D, holding down the control key with the 2-sided arrow, and look at that. Now we'll have to weld that in a second. And well, we'll do it in a minute after we move the other stuff. The S is a little harder. I always plan on don't bite too much. Only bite off about that much. Now we're going to have to work on this in a minute, and kind of back up when you see you're off. Take your shape tool and put it back, and try to maybe keep up while you're going, so you won't really have too much to do. Go back to the 3-point curve line and maybe bite off about that much. And then I'm gonna just keep fixing it, because it's not a perfect curve. But if I move this handle down and out, it'll stay on there a little bit better. And this does truly kind of work. See, I could almost do this with the freehand tool and fix this. You see, I can come close like that, and then down like that, and then back up a little bit. And I'm not taking I don't like that at all. I'm not taking a great deal of time. Matter of fact, I need to move that down a little bit. And once you get this done, we could see how that really a help, how that line is. Now get back to the 3-point curve line and bite off about that much. And we're going to have to smooth out these nodes because I'm going to show you when I'm going to go ahead and finish it and then come back and fix it. Okay, because we went continuously from node to node, that line is actually one line now. And this worked pretty good because it's already a cusp and it's not changing the other side when we do this. It's a little tricky sometimes to move a node just a little bit. And then just, try to stay right on top of that difference between the gray and the darker gray. And let's call that good. Now, let's move the bevel letter out of the way. And you wouldn't have to do this if I broke them apart previously. So now I'm going to take these two letters. These are two lines, two objects. I'm going to weld them. I'm going to weld them. I'm going to weld them. Now this is one line, one curve. Now the proof is in the pudding when we contour these guys. So with the outline, I can measure how wide this is. Well, it would help if you use the parallel dimension tool. So you can kind of get on that line. So we're at 0.19. 0.19. So what I'm going to do is contour 0.19 divided by 2 is 9.5. I should have figured that in my head. Contour to the outside 0.95. .095. Look at that. Now the S is the same, and it came out pretty good because our note. The one thing that the contour tool does is makes this part worse. And you can see if we move this down a little bit, you can actually see your contour kind of getting better. And you can do this see, that looks a little smoother. Now the S is different. So grab it and go to the outside 0.95. And now this case it worked. If it didn't work, that's one line. A lot of times you'd have to do the inside and the outside, but for some reason it's working. Now we're a little bit, see how the contour made this bump worse? So let's back up here and this is one we did not do, and see that's two nodes, so that's why. I'm going to go to Windows, Dockers, and Join Curves, and I've got mine set really low, so seeing I don't want it to contour. I'm going to actually close down the contour docker and see how this is just a little bit in. Now to do the same thing on the other side, and it's pretty close. And then go back to effects and contour that 0.95 or 0.09. Okay, here it did it. That's because I didn't have those nodes closed. I'm almost glad it did do that. So go to Object and break the contour part. Then grab the inside and contour to the inside. Look at that. Now, I don't know if he needs the line, but see, that's pretty much in the center. The Y could probably be moved up just a hair, and we could do that. You cannot close these nodes. And we take this and hold down the control button and get it more to this. Okay, I didn't break the contour part. Always, you need to always break your contour part. It is pretty neat that it does that. See, I can't close those two nodes because there's two nodes going into one node. But I'm holding down the control button so it'll be perpendicular. And now it's a little bit more in the center of that Y. Yeah, you cannot join those nodes because it's just the way the Corel is. I think that's about the only way to do it. Anyway, I hope that helped him, and he'll let me know if it doesn't, and thank you for watching.